All right, then.
If doubts and curiosity plague you, you're skinning your knuckles on the wrong door.
Tell me what you saw. It is the light of the Godhammer you saw.
It was a weapon of Deerwood's people, a symbol of their independence. It saved the Deerwood. It brought the Saints' War to an end, knocked a god from his perch. There are few that would deny Eothas overstepped. You saw its light because I helped shape it, give it life, and release it into the world. Once seen, its glory is almost... There were 12 of us. We fashioned the weapon, drafted plans for it, prayed for guidance at Ashfall, and it came to me there. Each of us were given a staff made from the forest of black trees around us, glowing with embers, and it felt as if the staff was Margaren's own finger, guiding my hand, guiding the other 11, the shadows of the 12 who had come to stand on the bridge to stop Eothas. Even in that stand, there was a ritual to it. For the 12 that stood on the bridge, there were a dozen shadows cast, a dozen things. As 12 held Eothas fast, we 12 unleashed our prayers and let the Godhammer fall. Shadows cast by the fire of the Godhammer, perhaps. And we shared their fate as well in time. Now the spine of the Deerwood is marked by the Godhammer, marked by Margaren. Not all deaths come with stilled breath and stilled heart, or other stilled passions beneath the waste. Some deaths, the connection we once shared with Margaren. After the light of the Godhammer, it was not the same. It was as if we'd lost. Not many can claim to have killed a god. It is less a heroic tale than you would think. And such a death, it changed our faith. All faiths, I expect. Doubt followed. The world is broken. The wheel stilled. There is sickness in the world's heart. Perhaps the price of crossing a god. Crossing two gods. Even as Margaren shaped our hands, perhaps we carried her will farther than was allowed. Just as Widewind did. Saint Widewind. Mortal arrogance to match. Yet if the world had changed, then I sought to change with it. If I had forgotten some of Margaren's teachings, I would find them again. I remembered Margaren's teachings, how reminders on the flesh were more important than the death of a vessel. And I wondered if killing Eothas, if that had simply set him free, had it allowed him to escape his... As I stepped from the now blessed Godhammer Bridge, I thought of Ashfall. I thought of the War of Black Trees, wondered if I needed to be burned to find myself again. That Is Margaret at? The road to Ashfall is long. Gives one time to think. And if you think long enough, you do not go home. Of my fellow 11 craftsmen, disciples, I know not what happened to them, if they suffered the same doubt as I did. But it was underserved. It was wrong. There is something about being used and cast aside. Perhaps Widewen himself felt it. Then I tried to find purpose, and avoided all contact with other Magranic priests. Did not seek the wall. I joined with the Purges for a time. And not long after, came the first signs of the Hollowborn. So many crimes, trespasses, violations. The Salvation. Animancers were another sickness born of the Saints' War. A relapse of innovation, of desperation to heal what we had caused. All seemed worse than before the bridge, not better. And as years passed, the world became even worse still for the victory. Huh? Worship the whims of some fickle bitch, and you'll never be more than dirt beneath her feet. Worship what she worships, on the other hand. Take her fire for your own, and her esteem comes on its own. We put much of ourselves into the Godhammer. Such a device is not simply a machine. There are elements of the spirit in it. Even each of the 12 who brought the Godhammer forth would have done anything to save the Deerwood, save its people. It is why we were chosen. Each of us hated. We all studied Widewind. He was our enemy. And he had provided the flesh the god wore as a cloak. That flesh made him vulnerable. I knew what fields his hands had tilled, his family, what he had harvested, where he had been born. We sought to know you don't kill the god. You kill the man it inhabits. And you leave that man a ruin. Burn him to ash. The weapon was meant to not only burn his flesh, but it would burn his soul. And it did, at the cost of our own, and at the cost of our goddess's. If you fear for my spirit, your fears are baseless. The Godhammer, seeing its light, only fueled my anger, and made me stronger. Made me re-examine the teachings of Margren, put them in a new light.
About my episode in the catacombs, there's something I should have told you earlier. I also have an awakened soul. But unlike yours, mine is a presence that shares my senses and my skin. I'm sorry. I've tried to learn to control Isilmir. I've gotten stronger, but so has she. artless, uncouth, a creature of rash impulses and feeble faculties. She wags her impertinent tongue when... Aye, this one's fit to boil. Hard to get this gaff over anything 'tisn't to do with books and spell speak. I learned to keep her a secret a very long time ago. Those with awakened souls are shunned, mistrusted. And after your experience with Meowald, I'm certain merely an annoyance. Although, Defiance Bay is said to have an entire institution dedicated to the study and cure of soul-related ailments. Since our journeys have already brought us to the city, but thank you. This has been a great burden. Hey. Of course. How may I help? Indeed. All right, then. Well met, friend. Hello. How do you do? Hey. Of course. Hey. Of course. Hail traveler.